Hello everyone and welcome back to another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So back we are for the new Kizuna versus Basil Hawkins, which does include Super Boss. So stay tuned for my Super Boss video that I will be uploading a bit later on today. But for now we are on the 10-star difficulty and there is 3 bosses here, and unfortunately for 2 of them your color affinity gets cancelled on the final stage. So you can use whatever types, it doesn't really matter. So for these first 2 teams, we're not really focusing on having type advantage against the respective boss types. But these teams are fairly accessible. The Koshiro support here that you see on Zoro is not required. He'll only be required for really high damages where you need a chain boost. Momo is also very replaceable. He's literally just there for a conditional, not a conditional, but a chain boundary, chain buff. We have Zoro there. He's great for getting around the rewind on the second stage and also giving us an orb boost just to make our kill a bit easier on the second stage. Then we also have Kawamatsu, who's great for this boss. We are running friend captain Shanks for all these teams. Unfortunately, versus Kid is not a very common friend captain, so that's why I am building these teams around the Shanks friend captain instead. So unfortunately, Shanks does get binded on the final stage, meaning that he can't get around the despair with his captain ability. So we are using Kawamatsu to get around both the bind and the despair. He doesn't get around all 6 turns of it though, so we are using the support of Whitey Bay on him. And then we also have what's his face, Hiyori, who's going to give us a full board of 1 orbs for the second and third stage. There's a lot of annoying orb debuffs, and using Hiyori just makes it a lot easier to get around it and get also the nice 2.5x orb multiplier from Wano orbs. We have Carrot there. She's just great for getting around the enemy's damage reduction on the final stage. So she's also pretty replaceable. Basically everyone here isn't super honestly, Kawamatsu is the most important unit here. Everyone else can be sort of replaced by something else, but Hiyori is also very nice. Ship does not matter, just use anything that you want. I do recommend using the Ho ship for a teeny bit of extra XP, but if you aren't doing assists, then it really doesn't matter. Since regular Kizuna, if you're not doing an assist, you don't get nearly as much XP, so you don't really need the Ho ship. But just a small tip there, if you are doing assists, make sure to use the Ho ship for some extra XP. But let's get into the team. Of course, we are using Shanks friend captain for the nice increase in tickets. Now for Shanks himself, he's quite a great unit for damage. Unfortunately, he can't really reach his full potential if you don't already have double Shanks already. If you use Shanks twice, you get 2 conditional attack boosts. He has the exact same effect as the Demon Nico Robin legend, where you can allow 2 of the same type of damage buff, which is awesome. But unfortunately, you need double Shanks to actually get that effect, or you could also use Robin with Shanks, so that's also a decent idea. Stage 1 here, we do have full 1 orbs from our Hiyori, so that makes it very easy to kill the turtles. We are running 6 slasher characters, meaning we do have the crit buff from Shanks' captain ability. Stage 2, we get a turn of rewind and type orbs non-beneficial. We can use Zoro to get around the rewind, give us an orb boost, and then also give us the cooldown for Hiyori, which means we can get another full board of 1 orbs, which will be locked for the final stage. With all that, you can just tap with Hiyori to weaken the enemy with resistance down, and then we can go in for the kill. So stage 2 is very safe, and of course we aren't relying on any orb RNG with Hiyori. Final stage here, we do have oh yeah, no, I forgot to mention, but these teams do work past level 30. So honestly, this is a very easy Kizuna. So if you are someone who doesn't have a lot of these characters, definitely ask in the comments. There will surely be replacements for basically anyone here, even Kawamatsu. We also get a last step buff from Momonosuke and a very strong boundary effect, which is why I chose him. Then we can use Shanks. He's gonna give the enemy weakness. The enemy already has a weakness against slasher characters, which is great. And that's about it. We can also use his special, of course, for the conditional. So with all that, you can kill, and it's very easy, even without color affinity. So that's it for the first team. Let's get into the second one, which is against, I think, the strength type. So as you can see, you get a 1.48x buff for Kizuna tickets and 1.43x for Super Boss. Now keep in mind, if you are running a guest Shanks friend captain, which is someone who's not yet on your friend list, then this effect will be weakened. Another really cool thing to note is that for this Kizuna, we have a... Okay, I need to get more tokens. But what I'm trying to say is, for this Kizuna Super Boss, you actually don't need to clear box 7 twice anymore. You actually don't even need to do box 7. You just need to get up to box 6, and you can get 3 of Basil Hawkins' skulls, and I think you might need a Dex skull, and then also a I think Strength skull, which is the regular skulls, and then you can super evolve him. You can also get Shanks Crew Legend, so he's also kind of free to play now, which is awesome. And yeah, it's just a lot easier. I'm glad Bandai made these changes. But I digress. Here is the second team, and we're actually using quite an interesting legend here, being Toki, Momonosuke, and Hiyori. They're a great legend for getting around the special bind, which is only inflicted to the top row on the final stage. You also have a stun, which is basically meant to make you die when the enemy attacks you with their 100k death hit. Now, along the recent Pirate King Adventures character here is an awesome unit for this. Not only getting rid of the stun with his own crew cutting HP, but he also is going to give us a chain boost, a base attack boost, and also a enemy set defense to 0. So that's going to allow us to get around the enemy defense up, which is a huge amount of defense up multiplication by 1 million. So don't even try and get past that with just huge damage. It will not work. You need to remove it or set it to 0. Luckily, the enemy doesn't have immunity to defense down, which is awesome. Then we have a 2-turn barrier on the final stage and a 3-turn barrier on stage 2. We also have remove SFX, and we all know we hate that debuff, so we are going to use a unit that has a crewmate ability to negate that. So on this team here, we are using Hold'em on stage 2. He's going to get around the remove SFX and also give us 3 turns of barrier reduction for the second stage, so we can get around the enemy's barrier. We don't have to hit those 2 perfects. I mean, you don't really need to remove the barrier, but I mean, I just like to anyways. We do want to make sure this is as fast as possible. You also get a chain lock from Hold'em, which is nice for damage. And then on the final stage, you can use the special of your Whitebeard, which will get around the barrier and give us a chain boundary effect. He also gets around the burn, which makes it a lot easier to survive. Oh wait, no, there's no burn for this one. Burn is on the next variant against, I think, Dex. So we'll get into that later on. We're also using Whitebeard on that team. He's a very nice character for his utility and a very unique chain boundary effect. Once again, we do have remove types. So that's about it, I think, for this mini boss. There's not a lot to talk about. This is a very easy quest. We do have intimidation on stage 2, but it's really nothing too important. So let's just straight into the fight, and of course we are using Kaido there just for matching orbs on stage 2, just to make sure we can kill. Okay, so I realized Kaido doesn't actually have a crewmate ability to remove SFX or none of our other characters. So I'm replacing Kaido, whose only role is to change orbs on stage 2 to someone who does that, but also removes the remove SFX. Now you can still use Kaido if you don't have any of these characters, but your only 2 options here are going to be Law and Corazon, this legend, or Tempura. You could also use someone like Frankie and then attach the support of Kung Fu Luffy for changing adjacent orbs into matching. There's a lot of different options. It's really not that deep, but for now I'm just going to use Corazon and Law. He's a great option. I know Tempura is not very accessible, but either way, just ask me if you don't have any of those characters and I'll try and figure out something for you. But let's get straight into this variant against Strength. Okay, so we're going to start off with the stage 1. Unfortunately, not having any matching orbs set by a crewmate ability, but it's fine. Corazon Law is quite a weird character. I think this is actually the first time I'm actually using them. Empty orbs are very finicky to work with, but I mean, or just very uncommon, I mean. And once again, we are going to have the buff of the crit potential ability from Shanks. So I actually don't have 6 slashes here, so I don't know why I still have that buff. I think it's only you need 4 slashes for that buff, so that's cool. But I digress. Stage 2 here, we are going to have Intimidation, Barrier, which we can use Hold'em for. He gets around all 3 turns and gives us a Chain Lock. Very fast special as well, might I add. We can use our Toki Legend on our captains. We can also use Toki's crewmate ability, or super type, to give us a color affinity boost. Unfortunately, it doesn't even really do anything, but it doesn't help us on the final stage either. So it doesn't really matter when you activate it. And then you can also use the special of Corazon and Law. So that's about it for the second stage. There's not much happening, but we do need all those buffs to make sure that we can actually kill. And I do recommend tapping with Shanks last. We actually did get the secret stage, so we did get the free attack boost, but either way we will get an attack boost from the Toki Legend special, so don't worry about that. We do have stun. So we do have the enemy defense up, but remember they don't have immunity to defense down, so that means we can use Arlong. We can use our Whitebeard, and we actually still have the empty orbs that have a increased orb effect from our Corazon and Law. And then we also have Shanks' abilities, making it a very easy kill on the final stage. We do actually have a enemy death hit, as I said, 100k, but we do have the threshold from Arlong. So also a very easy team. Not really much to say here. Once again, units are quite replaceable. Okay, so the final variant against Dex, and we are making use of some very interesting characters here, being like Ryuma, and also Strusen and Zoro from the Kizuna Rare Recruit. He's a very old character as well. But yeah, this is quite an interesting team. I'm very happy with it though. There's definitely alternatives to do what this team accomplishes. So once again, there will be replacements if you do need any of them. But let me explain how this team works. So on stage 2, there is going to be 2 backup mobs, the pleasure characters. And these characters are also quite tanky. But how this team works is stage 2, we do get a bind to our top and bottom row of 5 turns after sockets. We also get a full board of block orbs, and the enemy has defense up of 3 turns. They do not have immunity, so we can make use of defense down units. So how this team works is stage 2, we are going to be using Strusen to get around the bind and the block orbs and make recovery orbs count as matching, which he does change our block orbs into. Then we use the special and swap effect of our Carrot and Wanda to give us an attack boost of 2x, a orb boost of 2.5x, and a enemy defense down, setting it to 0. Then we can kill very easily, and then on the final stage we can use everyone else's special. We can use Ryuma to give us an attack and orb boost for our slasher characters. Zoro is going to buff that attack and orb boost. And then we can also use the special of Whitebeard to give us a chain boundary and reduce the enemy's barrier and our burn. The enemy actually sets our HP down to 10% and then has burn to try and kill you off. And it is the instantaneous burn, might I add, so you can't just ignore it. So we are using Whitebeard to get around the burn. And also another great thing about Carrot and Wanda is that they have end of turn damage in their captain ability, meaning we can get around the resilience. So there's a lot of different units here that are going to help. And Carrot and Wanda also has resistance to hunger, which is also present in this quest. The chain attack down we can easily get around with the Marco support for a chain boost, and then also chain boundary from Whitebeard himself. We also have the conditional attack boost and enemy weakening effect from our friend Captain Shanks. So with all that, this is a nice quest for damage, especially because we don't have cancelled color affinity. So we are using mainly strength units here to get around or to deal the most damage possible. Ryuma and Zoro are quite ineffective, but I just wanted to use them because they seemed quite interesting. You only get like a 1.95x attack and orb boost from both of those units. So not the most effective combination, but it's still fun nevertheless. You can use any strength unit that is slasher, and that is going to give you an attack and orb boost instead of those guys. So don't worry about it whatsoever. Okay, so we do actually get a full board of recovery orbs on stage 1. Unfortunately, they are not counted as matching. Luckily, we do get our Wanda and Carrot super swap charged with the stage 1 mob. And then we can use Strucin, of course. He does make the recovery always matching this time. And we can use the Super Swap for an attack boost, the special for a ore boost and enemy defense down. And from there, it's a ridiculously easy kill. And we can tap with Shanks. I should probably have hit a perfect there. But either way, the damage is really strong enough, even if you do make mistakes in the tap timing. So for final stage here, as I said, we do get a huge HP cut. So you need to remove the burn. I forgot we also do get a 110 special rewind, but it's really not that big of a deal. We can use our Shanks to get around the rewind, or you could use Carrot and Wanda again. It really doesn't matter. There's a lot of different options. Of course, we have Whitebeard for all the amazing effects he gives. We can use Ryuma. You could actually use Ryuma on stage 1 as well if you want, because he does have double special activation. But that's only if you do have his potential abilities maxed out. Yeah, and Zora also does give us a full board of matching orbs, so make sure you are taking that into consideration if you are replacing them. But very easy team. I'm pretty happy with these. These aren't anything too elaborate. They're just effective, and they give you the points from the friend captain Shanks. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or need replacements, ask them down below. But I'm gonna go do a second multi on the new sugo-fest, so make sure you stay tuned for that video when it does come out a bit later on, or maybe in the next few days. So I'll see you guys then. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay safe. Peace. I've been Omae, and I'm out.